I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. We do it here every Tuesday night along with my co-host, Mr. Campbell, and myself, Rocky Miller. Coach Cole will be here soon. But in the meantime and in between time, we're gonna get this started because we have a very big interview tonight. We have another HBCU head coach. You know, Steve, we get the heavy hitters on here, Steve. You know that that's what we do. And we really, to be honest with you, look at our record. We really put championship coaches on. That's what we do. We've had T.C. Taylor. We've had Tremaine Jackson. We've had Trey Oliver. You know, Tennis Berry. We had all these guys on the show, and at the end of the day, we have a championship coach that is our featured host of the HBCU Coaches Corner, Johnny Cole, who is also a championship coach. But with no further ado, I'll step aside. You already done tipped them off on who we got coming. I'll step aside and let you do the introduction, Mr. Campbell, because you will have a acquaintance with this man, with this coach that we have coming up, probably before he was actually a coach. So go ahead and you can do the introduction, Mr. Campbell.
You know, I'm super excited because, as they say, there's a small world. So I am proud to introduce University of Texas alum, freshman All-American, all Southwest Conference defensive back, NFL player for the Detroit Lions, Arizona Conference, and now has come over to the best side, the HBCU side, the new head coach of Hampton University, the Van Malone, my guy. That he didn't know he was my guy until I told him the name that we knew.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Mr. Campbell is that dude, right?
Coach, listen, you know, when I saw, and again, you know, we're all around the same age and stuff like that, and grew up during the same time and things like that. And when I see people from our generation, that good Gen X generation and everything, yes, to come in and do what you did. Like I said, I saw you when you played in college. You was an outstanding defensive back, a leader of the team. You went on, played in the NFL. You went to have and coached at various locations. And to see now to come and to rebuild those Hampton Power who have a storied football past. And for you to bring, again, your knowledge and your swag, as they say, from Texas to come up there to Virginia, man, I'm super excited again. And I have to tell people just a quick story. A lot of people know in my previous life, Coach, I used to throw big parties and things like that. So me and Coach have a mutual friend that had a nickname called Rock Nasty, a Q-Dog down at University of Texas. And Coach Malone we had the respectable parties, you know, Rocky, the all-star party, you know, where the celebrities would come, the coaches would come, big VIP. So whenever we would have some, Rock would say, now, we don't know if Van was coming or not. He said, just go put Van name on there just to have enough celeb on there. So we would always be able to use. Now, Van came through the door. He may not get, but he came, we always had him take care of. But the one thing, man, just to see how things, again, that was 30 plus years ago, to see, you know, we were young men now, and now to be at this stage, man, Coach, I'm super excited to have you on the HBCU Coaches Corner. We're going to ask you a lot of great questions. We're going to promote your program, and we know you're going to be successful. So, you know, I'm just glad I was able to introduce you and just to show you how small the world is.
Man, I'll tell you what, I just got to say one thing about those parties. There were quite a few of them. And yes, my name was on all of the flyers, but I have an admission to make. I was at every last one of them. I was at every last one of them, right? And my classes probably reflected that earlier in my career. But I'm excited to be here as well, guys. Man, it's a great honor. Anytime I can have an opportunity to be in an audience with you guys, man, it's big time. And like Rock, you and I were talking about earlier, man, to have the opportunity to be here at Hampton, but to have the opportunity to share with you guys, man, because as you were talking in your intro, you've had some heavy hitters on this show, right? And man, it's quite a tough act to follow, right? Many people don't know, and I always like to say it, he has another part that I'll share as well that he likes to say nowadays. But I coached Tremaine Jackson in high school. And and so
oh man.
Wow.
yes. And so man, Tremaine has been a part of my life before he or I knew what this was all about. And so to watch him grow and to watch him do the things that he's doing, I've been proud for many years. But nowadays, as a new head coach, he says this part. Man, I'm like a rookie. I'm calling that dude every day. Hey, Tremaine, what do you do right here? Hey, what would you do if you had this situation? And fortunately, man, he's had a good career, and he has a lot of experience as a head coach. So I'm learning as much as I can from him every day.
Now, Coach, wait a minute. I want to say something real quick. Don't let them trick you into scheduling that game until you get locked and loaded. When you get locked and loaded, and then you make him come to Virginia first. When you locked and loaded.
We already talked about that. We locking and loading it right now. And he knows he don't have to travel his way. Right? You're not getting me in the swamp, right? In neither of the swamps. You don't have to come to Virginia before we do all that.
Hey, Coach, it's interesting for those people who don't know your history or whatever. First off, I'm proud to say that you're a Texan, Coach, and that anytime that a Texan can come on this show and represent himself, they always do such a great job. From whether it be you yourself, Tremaine Jackson, Coach, and because football, how important football is in this area. I don't care if it's Waco, Texas. I don't care if it's El Paso, Texas. I don't care if it's Austin, Texas, or Odessa. How football is a religion here in Texas. And growing up here, you understand what it means. And coaching under any level of pressure probably is going to be minuscule compared to what you've been exposed to already. Understanding how important it is here in Texas. But I want to ask you this here, Coach, because this is an obvious question. You've been in coaching over 20 years. Most of the time, even though you coached Tremaine Jackson, you coached him in high school.
Right.
Coach, you spent a lot of time on the other side of the tracks.
Right. And
for that reason, to come over on this side of the tracks, there's a difference, Coach. And let's be honest, not many guys come from over that side of the tracks and come over here and coach. For an obvious reason to me is the economics behind it. Coach, why Hampton? Why now? Why at the HBCU?
Well, for me, man, and you're exactly right. The economics are quite different. But at some point in your life, you have to make a decision as to what is your driving force. You know what I mean? Like we talked about. Everybody likes to eat, right? And my kids, my family, they definitely like to eat, right? They like to eat the finest of the steaks. But again, at some point, you have to make a decision. At some point, I had to gather my people up, my troops, my family up, and we had to have a discussion about what we want to get out of this coaching life that we all are, from my wife to my kids, that we all have sacrificed for. And we all agreed that it was time, man, for us to do what we're purposed to do. And for many years, I've built programs. I've been an integral part of building programs, what you said, on the other side of the tracks. And man, unbelievable experiences doing just that. But at some point for me, it was just important that I take an opportunity, finances, stadium sizes, none of that into account, that I just wanted to come to a place, and I didn't know it would be Hampton at that moment, but I wanted to come to a place where I could build a program for people, with people who look like me and who have the same background and experiences that I do. And that's not discounting anything that I've done in the past, but it just comes a point where you know what, man, you go on vacation, right? You go to Hawaii, you go to Cabo, you go to for you guys, you go to the DR, right? But at some point, man, you got to come home, right? At some point, you got to come home, and coming here, that's really what it felt like to me. And so there's no other explanation that I have. Is that, man, it's just at this point in my life, this was my purpose, and I'm as well as my family couldn't be more excited that it happened for me here at Hampton University.
Coach, let me just make one statement, Rock. I just want to make a statement. I'm gonna let you keep going because he said something.
No, go ahead. I think it's a great point for the HBCU historian to step in here and make this put this in its proper context.
Well, I just want to say to Coach Malone, listen, and I know you get a lot of love down there in the University of Texas for what you've done. You are alumnus, like I said, you did it on and off the field, and I know you represented. But I'm gonna tell you something. At that school that you're at, the love that they're going to give you and your family, it is going to be totally different. And when you walk around that town and they say coach, and you hear that old lady say, "Coach, what you need?" it just rang different. Because guess what, Coach? She's not going to work at the university. She has graduated from the university, class of 1950, class of 44, class of 60. And they take a lot of pride in that. And they're going to support you with money and time and love. So I can't wait, because again, when you see coaches that have come out, and again, like we have Charlie Ward, again, Heisman Trophy winner. Now his family went to family, but he played at Florida State. He has seen the difference of Florida State love compared to that FAMU love. And I guarantee you're going to see the exact same thing.
I appreciate that. And I've seen it already. And I agree with you that is just that. And this Hampton fan base is a passionate group. And guess what, man, I operate with a lot of passion. And so I think we're a match made in Hampton.
I got you, Coach. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Coach, you were the assistant head coach at a Power 5 program, right? And now you're coaching at the FCS level. Sorry, Coach. Coach, what are some of the similarities and what are some of the difference? I know you're the head coach now, but I'm just talking about how the programs function, what's available to you. What did you learn at K-State and other places that you can really apply at Hampton, and what are some things that you were surprised to find when you got on campus?
Well, for me, you know, the experience of being the assistant head coach at Kansas State, it allowed me the opportunity to work alongside Chris Kleiman, who this dude's won 7 national championships, right? And so to work alongside him, to see how practices are best structured, right? To be able to develop the whole of your team, because a lot of teams, they go to practice and they're going to develop the starters, right? And they're going to develop the guys who back up behind them. But that lower portion of your roster, those freshmen, sometimes what happens with them is they get put to the back burner until it's their turn. Well, you need to be developed. What the philosophy is that you need to be developing your whole team at all time, because you just never know when, especially in this new landscape of the portal. All of a sudden, your 2 top players leave, well, you're down to 3 and 4 right now. And so you have to do a great job of developing your whole roster. And that's something that I really locked in on here in the last few years with Chris Kleiman. The years before that, working with guys like Mike Gundy, Dennis Franchione, Mike Sherman, right? I learned some of the staff operations, the fact that you have to be clear as the leader, that you have to be clear in your communications, that the expectations, they have to be set, and you have to have a leader has to have a willingness to have tough conversations, right? And I, because I am more seasoned than some of the people who are on my staff, man, I have conversations. I'm not the head coach who is going to disrespect another coach. There are head coaches out there that do that, but I always speak in clear terms, right? And I always have an understanding, and our staff has an understanding that I'm going to do everything I can to develop you as a coach, right? So So when you do things that are out of line with you as a young coach, they for sure they're going to be out of line with our staff and my expectations. But I'm talking to you more as an older coach to a younger coach. So sometimes sometimes I might dig in you a little bit, right? But it's not because I'm the head coach and I'm dominating and I'm domineering and I'm taking advantage of my authority. No, I'm talking to you as an older coach who is trying to develop a younger coach. The same way I would speak to our players, because it's always out of love and it's always out of development. So that's another thing that I learned from these coaches. Really, the thing that I was surprised about, quite honestly, is kind of what you alluded to, is that I didn't understand the level of passion. You know what? Yeah, you can have 100,000 seat stadium, but your fans can be just as passionate when you have a stadium that's not that big, right? And it can be just as important to them. And so therefore, for me coming here, man, the pressure is the same. I told our athletic director once in jest, like we were talking about the national championship, the FCS national championship. And I said, let me tell you something, man. There's no level of pressure that anybody can put on me that I don't put on myself for the expectation that I have of our program attaining that level. I didn't come here to patch things up. I didn't come here to just ride it out. I came here to build something special. And any player, any staff member, anybody who has any touch with our program, they feel that. I want them to feel that, because that's real for me. Right? Because that's how I coached. That's how I can rewind. That's how I played. That's how I coach as an assistant coach. And that's who I am as a head coach. I believe your players, they put the jersey on that you wear, that you give them, right? They're going to be whoever you train them to be. That's the same thing with your staff. And I even take it as far as say it's the same thing with your fan base, right? This is the way we're going to do it at Hampton for the rest of my Hampton life.
Oh, man. Hey, Coach, you interested. You mentioned something early on in that last comment, is that you coached under Chris Kleiman as his assistant head coach. Chris Kleiman has a very, I'll say, unique history coaching at this level. Have you tapped into him as a resource to kind of, because I'm not sure, but I think as a head coach, he's won 4 national championships at the FCS level.
Right.
Were you able to tap into his secret sauce of whatever that is that allowed him to be as successful as he was at the same level you're coaching now?
And we've throughout my time with Coach Kleiman, we always had discussions about what it takes to win. And like I said, with the development of your roster is important. And so those are little secret sauces. Nobody ever gives all the ingredients. You know what I mean? Nobody ever gives all the ingredients to the spaghetti, right? And so therefore, when you're in those positions, you have to take great notes. And when you're in those positions, you have to make sure that you are paying attention to the little things. You are paying attention to those things that he does not say, but you watch what he does. I remember many times, and I have I'm a little bit fiery in my personality, and to sit alongside Coach Kleiman and to see the way he handled issues with poise, with control, and I'm going to even use the term grace. So I don't have a lot of grace. You know what I'm saying? I got very little poise, and I got a little bit of control, but sometimes my control lever breaks, right? And so, but he's still working on me, right? And so, yes, I did always tap in to be able to get some of those secrets. But like I said, most of it, man, was the way he dealt with, the way he handled the people in the building, the way he handled the players, which I think, I believe that the relationship piece, especially in this new landscape, it goes like relationships are much more powerful than money. We might try to say that it's not, right? Because this is the landscape and money is very important. But relationships and purpose, as I've exemplified, relationships and purpose, they can go further than money, right? Because what I train these players to understand, I heard it on a video once, that if you're him, they're going to find you wherever you are, right? If you're him, you don't need to go put on a certain jersey in a certain conference in a certain school. If you dominate, you're going to dominate wherever they allow you to step onto the field. And so what we want to try to do is develop you to be dominant and respect your decisions, however they might be, if it comes to situations where you might choose to leave. But we're going to develop you where you are, help you be the best that you can be, and understand that, you know what, for some people, finances are very important, right? We're going to lean in on those people who understand purpose, right? And understand being developed and understand having a relationship with you that transcends any immediate fortune that you might be able to experience.
Coach, like I said, you coached under Chris Kleiman. This is your first coaching job at Hampton. Can you talk about the men that you ultimately selected to take this journey with you as a part of your staff? Can you tell us about those guys and kind of, explain your relationships with those guys, if at all possible?
Well, as a group, man, I'm unbelievably proud of the group that I put together, because they're a group of guys who have a lot of fun, right, up and down the halls. It's kind of funny. When I became a head coach, nobody wants to go out with me anymore. Like, I was the life of the party, as Mr. Campbell has already said. But when you become a head coach, nobody invites you to the cigar lounge, right? You call them and they get quiet, but they're at the cigar lounge, right? And so, but I will talk about this staff, right? One of the guys that I hired on the staff as our strength coach, Dr. Lavelle Williams, he and I, we played high school football together. This guy has a PhD in making people strong, right? He's a doctor, and he's worked with the military, right? He's trained special forces units. He's worked in the HBCU ranks at Alcorn State, at Jackson State. He also coached at Northern Colorado, coached at Texas Tech. But I've had a long-standing relationship with him. Another guy who is our defensive coordinator, Clay Jennings. Clay Jennings was a GA, I believe, when we first met. And so we've been bouncing around each other from the recruiting trail to coaching clinics to having our own private coaching clinics over the years. And so I had always have had great respect for Clay. And when I've had the opportunity to interview for other jobs, kind of like this one and other places around the country, I've spoken to Clay about the possibility of us connecting in this way, and that just hadn't worked out. And so I'm very excited, man, to have the opportunity to work with him, to have him be our defensive coordinator here at Hampton. On the offensive side of the ball, DJ Bolden, who came here from South Carolina State and playing in the Celebration Bowl, coaching in the Celebration Bowl. I met DJ some years ago, and man, I was just really impressed with this young coach who was a good ball coach, right? Who had a great personality, but who was a man of faith, right? And who believed as well in developing players. And so I just started to watch that dude and just couldn't be more impressed with who he is as a leader of men. Both of these guys, leaders of men within their position rooms. And then I could go on and on, but one more guy that I'll talk about. I like to talk about them all, honestly, but one more guy I'd like to talk about, and it's a message really to young coaches, because I met Kenny Ray, man, about 15, 20 years ago. I met Kenny Ray at a head coach's training academy, right? We both were in these academies, and I met him, and he happened to be in the group with me. And I was really impressed with him. I was a young coach who didn't know a damn thing, just like he didn't. But I was really impressed with him. And Kenny and I went out to dinner, hung out, went on vacation together over the years 0 times. But I watched his teams. I watched his offensive line. I watched the people that he coached. And man, when this opportunity came up, I knew that Kenny Ray was my offensive line coach, right? Because of in that group setting, who he was as a man, with what I've watched over the years and seeing his players and seeing how they develop, watch videos, seeing him clinic, right? And I couldn't be more happy to have him on our staff. He had an opportunity to talk to the team today about the physical attitude that you must have up front, defensive and offensive lines, to be successful as a team, and him talking about the fact that it starts up front.
Hey, Coach, we're going to take a quick moment to introduce our championship head coach.
Yeah.
The guy who inspired HBCU Coaches Corner, none other than TSU and SWAC legend himself, Johnny Cole. Now, Coach, y'all gonna have to fight over this one, Coach. Now, all this time, Coach Cole, you've been taking credit for Tremaine Jackson and his success, only to find out that I found the real guy who's responsible for all the success that Coach Jackson has had, which is Coach Malone. Coach, how can you tell Coach Jackson's story without giving the man his credit, Coach Cole?
Well, first I'm gonna say what you just said is true. The man you watching raised him as a youngster, and kind of watched him. My more take on the thing was, the head coaching aspect of it. Coach had taught him that he wanted to get in this game, and pretty sure directed him the way he was supposed to go. And then the baton was passed on to me as well. So, my thing was, I was more hands-on. He was more of the mentor father figure, and I was more the mentor as a head coaching aspect to him. So without a doubt, I take my bow to this man, and we've been around a long time, Coach, a long time. And it was just good to get you on the show. And one of the things that and I want to apologize. I just moved in the house yesterday. So I'm in between moving and all that kind of stuff. So I want to apologize.
Hey, coaches move, baby.
Yeah. You know how it is to move. But, Coach, I know you were talking about your staff and basically talking about black coaches. And I know, man, you started way back in the 80s and when they used to have the list of 20 and then they had the Black Coaches Association. And now I think it's named something else. And at one time you was the president, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that coming? And I'll ask a couple questions about it. How's it coming? Is it still strong? Are we still putting things together? Or where's it at this present time?
So what you talk about the BCA, and we used to have the BCA meetings at the AFCA. Well, then all of a sudden, man, we didn't have a BCA meeting. And being on the AFCA board, a lot of minority coaches would come to me and say, Coach, where's our thing? Where's that thing? Where is the thing we used to have? And I said, man, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Because you know what? I was not in a situation, honestly, in my young mind where I understood the importance of our thing, right? Where I didn't realize that we need our thing, right? As minority coaches, we need our thing. And man, when those coaches began to come to me, it made me realize I need to go into this board meeting and I need to say, whoa, listen, we don't have the Black Coaches Association anymore, but we need to have I need to put on this forum. And so what we started to do is put on it used to be called the Minority Issues Forum. But then I said, you know what? You say minority issues, That's a very negative connotation. Issues. Guess what? There are issues, right? But I want to change the connotation, because what I want to do is I want to make sure guys like Van Malone, guys who are on the other side of the tracks, guys who are working at the PWIs, that they feel free. Because sometimes you kind of feel a little scared to be in those places where there's issues. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to shake up things over here. Okay, how about this? We're going to change it, because guess what we want to do? We want to advance minority coaches. So we changed it from the minority issues to the minority advancement forum, right? And so it gave what I hope, it gave an opportunity for those coaches who might be a little bit hesitant to walk into that room. Come on in here, man, because you do want to advance, don't you? And that's what we want to do, is we want to fight for advancement. And so, man, listen, what happens at this point, Coach Cole, is that I just get a bigger voice, right? Because one thing, and it even has something to do with me taking this opportunity, is that, man, we can chase the opportunity to be patted on the head, or we can go. And Tremaine said this to me years ago. He said, Coach, you want to be a head coach? Go be a head coach. Go be a head coach where you can be a head coach. Don't wait for this place till they call you to be a head coach. You're a head coach. Go be a head coach, right? And so this is an opportunity to be a head coach at a program. You know what? It might not be some of these others. I'm not even going to name them, right? From a standpoint of the size of the stadium, or from the standpoint of maybe their resources. But I'm going to tell you something. The passion that we have here at Hampton, the feeling that you have, and I hadn't even been out for a game yet. I hadn't even walked out of the stadium, out of the tunnel for a game yet. But the passion that my president walked out there with today, the passion that my AD walks around with, the pride that they have in Hampton University. Hey, man, I love that we have that here, you know. And so I'm excited that my mentee mentored his coach and told me the way to go do it. And so, Coach Cole, yeah, I had him when he was young, but I'm gonna tell you something. I had him out there doing defensive back drills as a D lineman, right? And so I abused him more than I mentored him. And so when I handed him off to you, man, he was right for everything that you gave him. And again, some of the things you gave him as a head coach, he gives to me. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Vance, you've been to some great programs, PWIs and all over the place. And you've been assistant coach, coordinator, you've been on the well, we let's just say tonight the other side, PWI
Right.
schools.
Right.
And anytime, and that was, LC. Of course, my brother, he was, 13 other PWI schools, man. And he just could never get that coordinator ready to be a head coach. And
Right.
just like Tremaine said to you, I said to him, man, LC, they ain't gonna give you no job, man. You got to go to the HBCUs. So I asked you, why now? Is it had you tried before? Just why now?
Well, I'll be honest, and Rock and I talked about this earlier, is that, man, in your life, you better admit to something. To one thing you better admit to is that you don't have control. Like, your job is to pedal the bike, right? Your job is to pedal the bike, and God is steering the bike, right? And so for me, very honestly, I had a day, man, last summer, and I just had a thought that, it's time, man, for you to go and it's time for you to go be a head coach. You are ready to be a head coach. It's time for you to go be a head coach. No more discussion. Well, I just want to get ready. Well, I just need to get this. I need to learn about budgeting just a little bit more, right? Yeah, I know football. But I just need to learn this one thing. You keep telling yourself that, right? But that thought came to me and said, you're ready to be a head coach. Go be a head coach. Yeah. And then I had a discussion with my wife, and during that discussion, I said to her, I said, now here's what you need to understand. We're going to have to go to a place, not as we're stepping down, but we're going to have to go to a place that might not be what is in your dreams. You know what I mean? The place where they got the biggest stadium and they're going to play on worldwide television every single game. You may have to go to a place where you're going to have to build it, right? And I said, okay, well, we agreed. Okay, we want to be a head coach, so we're going to go be a head coach. And then, man, when this opportunity came up, it didn't matter that it didn't matter, right? Because when this opportunity came up, Hampton, man, again, I'm not going to say the names, but Hampton is just as, what? Hampton is that school, right? Yeah, they might have some more resources, but Hampton is that. You know what? At some point, Hampton gonna beat the hell out of that school. You know what I mean? And so, man, I went to the Hampton versus Howard basketball game, and I sat there watching our Hampton basketball teams, men and women, play, and man, I almost had tears in my eyes because, again, like Rock and I were talking about, at some point, man, from your vacation, you come home and you get back to your bed and your house and you eat your food, and it just felt like home, man. And so we are, my family, these coaches, we are as excited as we can be to be home.
Yeah. Coach, I want to build, Coach. I want to build off of something, and because you just rung something into me, and there's a saying, never let perfect be the enemy of good. So I'm glad that you didn't do that, because there's nothing perfect in life. So the fact that you were waiting for this perfect, you didn't let it be for good, which you turned to great. But I want to ask, because the Hampton job, it's not a small job. That is a well-known school, a well-financed school that has won championships in the MEAC, now they're in the CAA. And your AD Henderson, played at Hampton. Your AD won conference championships at Hampton. What was it when you applied? What did you tell AD Henderson? Say, I'm your guy. I'm the guy to bring this back to the championship level when you even play. Because again, as somebody who played on that field, he knows what it's supposed to look like. What was it? Because I know several people who applied for that job. And when you got it, I was excited, but B, somewhat surprised, because I knew it was had applied. So what was it that you felt in your mind, as you said, when you went and did that interview, that this was why this man hired me?
Well, damn, it sounds like you were in the interview, because that's what I said. I said, hey, man, I'm going to tell you what your team needs. This is what they need. Nah. But guess what? I believe that God works on the hearts and the minds of men, right? You can say whatever you want to say. I could have had a whole lot of people call AD Henderson. I'm talking about big hitters, power brokers in college football, right? In all levels of athletics. But I didn't do any of that, because what was important to me is that I got the job that I was supposed to have. And I believe that I am supposed to have this job. I believe this job is the job. This is my purpose. This is my purpose right now. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't my purpose 5 years ago. It wasn't where I was supposed to be 5 years ago. It wasn't where I was supposed to be 10 years ago, 2 years ago. But this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And again, yep, AD Henderson played, and he's a championship player. He played defensive back. What I'm going to do at some point is I'm going to shave him and put him out there and see if he still has some of that, right? Some of that stuff that he, right? Some of those things that he's talking, man, I tell you what, I used to, hey, baby, guess what? Matter of fact, we had our first day of spring practice today, and he was out there, and I said, hey, man, you probably need to go get tape, because one of my safeties just went down, right? But at some point, we're going to put a helmet and some shoulder pads on him and put him in a drill. Right, and let's see all that talk. Let's see if you still got it.
Yeah. Dad, Coach, you sounded like a HBCU coach.
Hey, man, let me tell you something. Hey, so here's one thing that we do with AFCA, and I've done it for many years, is that we honor what they call the Trailblazer, right? The Trailblazer Award. And it's an award that the AFC, and not many people know about it, right? But they give this award to trailblazers, coaches who have coached in the HBCU ranks in other eras before us, right? And man, in researching these people over the years, man, there have been some elite level coaches who have coached in the HBCU ranks. So you say, I'm sounding like one of them, I would be no more proud than to be sounding like one of those guys. Because a lot of times in life, man, it's all about what you read well, I don't sell newspapers anymore. It's all about what you read on social media, right? It's about the narrative, right? The narrative. Our life a lot of times is controlled by narratives. We on the HBCU ranks, we say we ain't got, man, we got a lot, right? Yeah. We got to figure out how to resource it. They say, well, we not like them. Man, guess what? We better than them, right? And so we just got to turn, and guess what? Because it's being fed to us every day, we can't help but eat it, right? We can't help but eat. We can't help things that make us believe one thing is better than another thing, right? One conference is better than another conference, right? And so we just got to watch how we frame our minds. And as we communicate to these young players, we're training them to believe that they can compete, that they can operate on any level with anybody. As long as you working as hard as they are, you give yourself a chance to compete with anybody, right? Now they may run a 4.4 and you run a 4.7, right? I don't believe in fantasies, right? But when some parts of the game are about physicality, some parts of the game are about technique, some parts of the game, at some moments of the game, it's about your willingness to quit or not quit. And the same with the man across from you. And so we want to train our guys to get the best we can out of themselves, and have them give the best that they can of themselves every single play of the game. Man, y'all got me. Listen, we're gonna start practice at 6 a.m.
Hey, Coach, let me ask Coach a question, because you from Houston, right, Coach?
No doubt. Fifth Ward, baby.
See, I was gonna say, you don't sound like a Fort Bend guy. You don't sound like a A-Leaf guy. You don't sound like anybody around. You don't sound like Humble or Spring, Coach. You sound like Yates, Wheatley,
Trip.
Here. Where you from, Coach?
So here's what you need to understand. When you're me, right? When you're me, you've lived in all those places, right? And so, man, I grew up, we didn't have a whole lot, right? And so you might roll up and be evicted from your home and have to be in A-Leaf for a few months. And then you may have to be in Sunnyside for a few weeks, right? And then you might have to be in Katy for a day or two, right? Okay. Only a day or two in Katy, right? But at the end of the day, man, listen, it's just, and I am most proud of my upbringing because it gives me the opportunity, man, to converse on all levels. I've had the opportunity to sit with presidents, right? This kid from Fifth Ward. I've had the opportunity to sit with presidents of the United States, right? And so at the end of the day, man, again, I couldn't be more proud of my Houston heritage, my Fifth Ward, Acres Home, Third Ward heritage, because it has given me tools. It has given me the ability to be able to sit in these seats as well with a whole lot of understanding and compassion for those people who may come from those same kinds of environments.
Coach, I'm gonna pivot a little bit, and because one reason why I started this show was that Black coaches don't get the pedestal and to talk about who you are. Now we know who Van Malone is. And you can add, 95% of the athletic directors in Division 1A or 1AA is Caucasian, ain't no question. But anytime that our brothers get a head job on there, and I've coached at University of Cincinnati, is it because when they hire their staff, there's always one brother on one side? You know the deal, Vance, or two on this side. Why is it never
It sounds like
coaches
he. Oh, okay.
that I could get. And, Vance, through all these years, all now I've been around 40 years, that guys don't bring somebody with them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean,
Right.
you coach Division 1A, you mentored Tremaine and a couple more. Why you think that? Because not only, I have my own opinion, but our audience is actually looking at a.
No, that ain't you, Coach. That's Coach Cole. That new
Yeah.
house.
No.
I wonder, has he got his internet installed yet over there?
Hey, he got what he got? Boost Mobile over there. He got Boost Mobile.
No,
And now we get in a circle.
but I think what he was saying is, what's been the challenges of coaches who are on the other side of the tracks?
Yeah.
What are the challenges of those coaches bringing other coaches, letting them get the opportunity to coach on the other side of the tracks? Because at the end of the day, don't like you admitted, Coach, there's a certain economic advantage of being over there, and some of these guys on this side of the tracks are qualified, skilled enough, and they work hard enough and deserve an opportunity over there. What can be done to allow for more guys that work it? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Coach, coming over here, you get the label of HBCU coach, and with that label, what does that mean, Campbell? Historically,
Well. Here's the thing. I don't consider it a negative connotation, and I think what it is, because again, it's not hurt Willie Simmons. You know what I'm saying? It didn't hurt Willie Jeffries. You know what I'm saying? I think in this era, and Coach knows this. If you can and see this as a black coach, as you know, coaching is coaching. And the thing with as a black coach has been hurt is that people try to put a label on you. Is that you're a black coach, not just a great defensive back coach, not a great defensive coach, not a great passing game coordinator, things that you've done over your years and things like that. So I would say what coach is to me, and I tell you what, coach is back. So, Coach, go ahead and finish up what you were about to ask Van.
No, I'm sorry. No, and I was just, Vance, you've been there, you've seen it like I've seen it, the unfairness of the treatment of some black coaches, and then sometimes we mistreat ourselves. To me, when we do get those positions, and then you look in the room and you still see guys that's not not look like us, and also Vance, also happens in the HBCU realm when guys get jobs. The two top positions, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, don't look like us. What is your take on that? My take is I don't think it's fair that we don't get those opportunities. I know it's deeper than just that. I know it's political. I know it comes down to financing as well. What is your take, and how have you dealt with it over the years on making your mark, and then finally, like, boom, shit, I'm ready to be a head coach. Now I'm coming. Because I'm gonna tell you too, Vance, I don't mean to make it long. I know guys that actually graduated from black colleges. I know you, I know what type of guy you are. Feel a little slighted. You know what I'm saying? That we've chose to go to these schools, we play this school. What do you say to them, as well as, just the overall take of it? And I'll turn it over to you.
All right. I think, let me just reel it all back in here. Is that, first of all, man, I'm gonna do everything I can as a coach to further people who look like me, because I understand what they go through, right? And so I'm gonna do everything I can. You use the term to bring as many as I can with me. I have a young. I always start in the young group, right? I have young coaches that I was able to place with coaches, and I have a young dude who I placed somewhere, and I watched him bounce and move. Now that young dude is coaching at Notre Dame, right? And so even talk about Tremaine, you know what I mean? To watch it. I took Tremaine to his first AFCA convention. I took him to his first coaches convention, and boom, now that dude is head coach somewhere. So I'm always in my small way, I'm always working to try to push dudes ahead. So to coach, you said, what about those coaches who get there and they don't do that, right? Well, man, I don't know why. You know what I mean? I don't know why, because I know what my purpose is. So I'm not gonna criticize somebody for not, but I know what my purpose is, and I can say what my opinion, just like Coach you said, my opinion is that it's very hard. So when you walk through the door, the people tell you who they kind of want you to hire. When you walk through the door, or before you even get in the door, they listening to who you're gonna hire. And it better be somebody who is appealing. It better be to somebody who has the name. It better be somebody. And I'm talking about the schools on the other side of the tracks, right? It better help us win this press conference, because we're not gonna be able to go for you just getting your homeboy, right? And so us as coaches on the other side of the track, because on the other side of the track, man, it ain't a lot of us, right? So when you talk about your homeboys in coaching on the other side of the track, most times your homeboys in coaching, they don't look like you, because the people in the staff room, generally, not all of them look like you. So you end up developing relationships. You end up having strong respect for people in the football game who may not look like you. And that's okay, right? Because we're looking for coaches, right? We're looking for coaches. I have just in my career been intentional about, yes, having relationships right in the staff rooms that I'm with that might not look like me, but also intentional about making sure that I'm over here in this other area as well with the people who do look like me, making sure that I'm refining the talent, making sure that I'm discovering the talent in areas where they do look like me, right? And so when there's, and honestly, I get all kinds of calls for, you got a young minority defensive back coach, you got a young minority wide receiver coach, you got a young minority. And so when I get into situations where I can speak, then I say, hey, coaches, I also got some young quarterback coaches. I also got some young minority offensive line coaches. I also got some young offensive coordinators, some young defensive coordinators. I also got some guys with that kind of potential too. So it's my job. I don't know what somebody else is doing or not doing. It's my job, my purpose to make sure, man, that I'm pushing my narrative, right? That I'm pushing to make sure we all have respect for our ability to call plays. And I say this to us. We got to make sure we are the most ardent supporters of us, right? Tremaine Jackson, I'm his number one fan. Deion Sanders, I'm his number one fan. I have to be their number one fan. Guess what? If they do something I don't like, you won't hear it in social media. If they do something I don't like, they're going to hear it from me. If they do something that I think as an older coach that might not be jacked up, that I don't disagree with, I have a relationship well enough that I'm going to talk to them. But that out in public, they're going to get my full support because they have enough people pulling and pushing against them, right? In public, we have to be the firmest supporters of them because there are people who support their people when they're not always about right.
Coach, you bring up somebody that I usually bring up on the show, and since you brought up his name, I'll go ahead and expound on it. And Mr. Campbell knew it. And because I think his impact in the HBCU space was profound, right? And I'm talking about Coach Sanders, Coach Prime. His impact was profound, not just in wins and losses, but letting everybody in the culture know that HBCUs are something special, right? I'll just ask you this. When Coach Sanders took the job at Jackson State, what did you think of that move, and what do you think he's done with his career since then?
Yeah, I was excited for him, right? Again, because of the fact that, again, here's a man. I'm not talking about his playing career. Here's a man who is a coach. He's coaching on the high school rank, in the high school ranks, and he gets an opportunity to coach on the college ranks. Man, I'm as excited as I could be for him. Just as I've walked through this door without having experience coaching on the college ranks, he didn't have that experience, but he had unbelievable, and he still does had unbelievable experience with the narrative, right? He has unbelievable experience with communicating with players, with coaching players, with getting into the hearts and the minds of these players. And he still has shown that, right? And so, man, that's what coaching is, right? The schemes, there's 11 of them out there at the same time. You got 11 on offense, 11 on defense, and you can align them a whole lot of different ways. But at the end of the day, it's not what you know. It's what you can get these young people to execute at a very high level, right? So having the ability to be able to get into their minds, develop them, teach them these schemes that we draw up all day and night, right? There are some coaches out there, they can draw schemes, they can draw blitzes from sun up to sundown, but they can't get the kids to do it. They can't get the kids to execute it. They can't get the kids to do it with the passion that it takes to be successful on whatever level it might be, right? People like Deion Sanders, people like Tremaine Jackson, people like Johnny Cole, they have that ability to be able to get into these young people's hearts and minds. And that's why those kinds of people, they coach for a lot of years. They may not get the credit, right? They may not get what do you call the guru status. They may not get that. But I bet you every player who played for him, every player who had a relationship, been around him, they will all testify to that coach.
Hey, Coach, I just think that Coach Prime coming on the HBCU level opened up the hearts and minds of people who were not looking at HBCUs as a possible landing spot, but he gave guys like, whether it be Mike Vick or Deshaun Jackson or Marshall Faulk, whoever it may be, the idea that they too could coach on that level and make an impact. And Coach, let's be honest. When they write your story at Hampton, when you win all those championships, they're gonna say former NFL coach, former NFL player, turned head coach at HBCU coach. That's what they're gonna say. And you fall in that category as a former NFL player.
And guess what? Like I said, it's about the narrative, right? It's about the narrative. Like at some point, people didn't wear quarter zip jackets. They didn't wear them, right? Everything you ever heard about a quarter zip, that was foolish to wear a quarter zip. That was tacky to wear a quarter zip. Oh, only clowns wear a quarter zip. And then there'll be another time in history where the quarter zip is the greatest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? A couple of players coming here the other day to talk to me, and they were wearing their slides with socks. So back in the day, when you wore slides with socks, you were somebody's daddy. But now, today, that's the coolest thing out there, right? To wear your slides with socks. You want to be somebody's daddy at 17, 18, these players. So it's about the narrative, right? And so, man, listen, this is the greatest level of football in the world, right? And the kids who play, man, I love them, right? You know why? Because they remind me of Tremaine Jackson, right? Of what Tremaine Jackson was. I know what I see him as today. But Tremaine Jackson was what I see in these kids today, right? And so that's why and no disrespect, had the same players in the PWIs, had the same players, had the same relationships. And so therefore, this is where I am today. And I couldn't be more excited, more proud, more happy, more at home than I ever been.
Hey, Coach Cole wanted me to apologize. He has an unstable connection for some reason.
That's what they call it.
He's in the middle of a move, and so he wanted me to apologize for him coming in and out. But but before we get out of here, Coach, I want to talk. We briefly talked about you're a defensive guy, and I want to ask you will you be calling the defense, or will the coordinator be calling the defense?
Man, for me, I had an unbelievable opportunity to pass this blessing of being a first-year head coach, to pass this blessing on to a first-year offensive coordinator and a first-year defensive coordinator, right? Because of the fact that, man, these guys are unbelievable managers of games. These guys are unbelievable managers of men. And Clay Jennings and DJ Bolden, DJ on offense, Clay on defense, man, we've had discussions, and I have every level of confidence in their abilities to be able to manage the offensive and defensive games, manage the offensive and defensive units as we go. My job is to give them all the resources that I can for them to be successful. My job is to create relationships with these players, to make sure that I continually build the culture around DJ and Clay, to make sure that everything they need, they get, so that they can be successful, right? My job just became easy, right? My hair was already gray, so I'm good over here. I wish I would call a defensive play.
And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Campbell after I ask this question. In this fall, what can we count on? Besides win, we're not talking wins and losses, but what can we count on the Hampton football team being? What will be their identity? What will be their personality? What will be a staple of a Hampton football team beginning this upcoming fall?
So I believe this. When you go into these situations, right, people come up with a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? These fluffy things. Man, I can't come up with fluffy things, right? I have to, it's what I told the team, it's what I told our president, is that who the team is going to be, is they're going to be me, right? I had to hire a staff. Yeah, they have their individual personalities, but they're going to be me, right? And our core, what we going to exhibit is going to be me. I can't come up with like 19 different things that somebody else said, and I can't come up with 13 or 5 different things that I got from Chris Kleiman. Here's who we're going to be. We're going to be physical. Van Malone is physical. Go watch some old plays back in the 40s when I played. Van Malone, knock your damn helmet off, right? He was physical. He played the game at a level of physicality that he didn't want anybody to match it. Well, guess what? That's where I coach, right? So we're going to out-hit you. That if you can't do that, if that's not a part of your DNA on our team, I don't care if you're a kicker, if you're a running back, if you're a wide receiver, it don't matter. We're going to out-hit the opponent. We're going to try to win the battle of physicality. The next thing, hey, man, this is Hampton University, right? Like, we got smart kids here, right? And so we got dudes flying airplanes around here. And so we should be smarter, and we should take great pride in being smarter than the people you play, right? And so we're going to outsmart them, meaning we're not going to do things that get us in trouble. We're not going to have dumb penalties. We're not just going to be dumb, right? We're going to be smarter than they are, right? And I want to train our players. Man, you're just smarter than them. When you play some of the service academies, they've been trained, they're more disciplined than you are. So they come out there with that disciplined mindset. They already know they're going to out-discipline you. You got to train them to be that way. So we're going to outsmart the opponent. And then the next thing is man, I don't care what level of talent. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care where your mama work. I don't care how much money you got. You can outwork people. You got to make a decision that I'm not going to stop until 2 seconds after he stops. And so that's what I want to put into these players, because that's who I was. Now, the outsmart part, I'm not going to put that on me. I'm going to get that to them, right? But the outwork, right? Nobody's going to outwork me, right? Nobody is going to outwork me. Nobody is going to outwork our team. We're not going to ever quit, right? If we have a push-up contest, I'm going to push up until I throw up, right? And then I'm going to push up on the throw up. If you're going against me, you're going to stop before I stop. That's just, and I might be lying to myself, right? But that's what I'm telling myself. That's the way I train myself. And that's the way I'll train our players. So we're going to out-hit, outsmart, and outwork our opponents.
Coach, I want to get forward because it's important. We got a lot of Hampton people. So let's talk about Hampton because I think that's very important. We get out of here. Last year, Hampton was 2-10, a lot of, tough losses, a lot of close losses, but a proud bunch. When you came, because once again, you were in the Big 12, NIL, able to get certain level of recruits. At this level, talent evaluation is so important. How is it now that you're looking, because you kind of got in a little bit late compared to other people and things like that, putting your staff together and looking at players. Let's talk about guys that you got out the portal, what type of players you were looking for, and the different evaluation where you were at Kansas State. It was more like, hey, I can get this guy because he has a certain level versus a guy that might be a little bit more in the potential arc that if we can get this guy, I can develop him more. Because in this level, and coach, and I laugh about this, I talked to my Georgia people. Kirby Smart's a great coach, but he got like 40 other coaches helping him coach. At the HBCU level, like you say, you got to be the defensive back coach, the defensive coordinator, the head coach, and things that you're really teaching at this level compared to off hands where a guy's in the tower and things like that. So let's talk about the players that you brought in through the portal, some of the players that you kept, and what are you looking for with those guys?
Well, what we did from the standpoint of our focus in the portal is that we wanted to get guys who, again, I knew who this staff was. I didn't know them all, right? I didn't work with many of them, but I knew who they were and they knew who I was. And we talked about the type of culture that we would be building. So in going to get players out of the portal, man, sometimes you go get another man's trash, right? And you can't make him your treasure, right? You got to realize he's trash from another man. And so you got to make sure you go get what fits you. You got to go get what fits you. Yes, from a talent level, man, there were a lot of kids that we saw, that we evaluated, who were good athletes, but they were not good character fits. And that was one of the first things that I said to our coaches is that we're not going to, like, he's already been a headache. He's documented as a headache. I'm not going to bring a headache to the coach and he knows it's a headache. Come on, man. Don't do that, right? Don't get a car don't have an engine in it. And so the character piece was very important. We knew that we could not walk in here and throw all the other dudes off the ship, right? We had to come in here and find out who these people were. I had an opportunity to meet with these kids one-on-one Zoom, and there was some we said, hey, listen, see you when we see you. We gave them the pirate salute, right? And then there were others that we said, man, if you hang in here with us, we're going to build something here that we would like for you to be a part of. And so we ended up, and I'm not going to talk about all the kids we got out of the portal, but we ended up getting a couple of good quarterbacks, Trey Taylor and Jalen Woods. And those guys were good fits for who we are trying to be right now at this moment. We ended up going and getting a couple of defensive linemen, right? And so, to be honest, where we came in, you kind of alluded to it, where we came in, man, the pickings were slim.
Right.
And sometimes when the pickings are slim, you will just go grab anything so you can have a body. Well, we'd rather not just have a body. Because if you go get a body, you're going to be trying to walk him out the door a short time later. And so it was important that we get the right kind of people. Not to mention the fact that we knew we had a pretty good group of high school kids that we were going to have the opportunity to recruit as well. And so that's when the development piece comes in, which you alluded to. It doesn't matter if you're at Kansas State, if you're at Georgia, wherever you are, you better be really good at evaluation in the recruiting process. And so these coaches, as I evaluated them to hire them, that was a piece of it as well, as to make sure that we understand we are a developmental program. We're not going to go out and get the guy who is ready-made. Guess what? We couldn't do that at Kansas State. We had a reputation, a history of developing players. One of my kids who now, not a kid, but one of my young men who now is a starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jacob Parrish, this dude was a no-star, right? This dude was a kid that we were talking about was going to walk on. Right. And so we developed him. And I think there's an art to the evaluation. There's certain parameters that we look for in any position to be able to give us an opportunity to predict this guy's future growth. his ability to be able to contribute on our team at some point, right? It's not all about the projects, right? We're not going to project them all. You got to go have relationships with coaches, have relationships in the areas. Guess what, man? We recruiting in the 757. There's some talent here. We talk about Texas, but there's an unbelievable amount of talent here within a tank of gas. And so we're going to forge those relationships, and we're going to get these guys who are right here in our own backyard and have them to see how special it is to play right here close to home, man. And don't buy into the narrative that you got to go get on a plane and go somewhere 6, 7, 8 hours away when you can have your family support you right here in your own backyard.
Coach, that's why you brought up something, and I talked to Coach Quinn Gray and I talked to Tremaine Jackson about this. I think for HBCU, there's a tremendous opportunity now with the high school players because of the portal. And because, and Coach, I'm just going to tell you that, and I know you know because I know you got a lot of people. But one of the things about it, you have an advantage is that when kids go to Hampton and they graduate, they're going to make money. They're going to get the alumni that is national. So are you seeing where now you could go and talk to some of these high school kids because their parents are also caring about academics also, and they say, wait a minute, Hampton's recruiting you? Have you seen that? Because I know if you really, like you say, if you go from Philadelphia all the way to North Carolina, Hampton has a strong network of former players, alumni. And have you heard from alumni say, hey, coach, I'm a coach at XYZ. You need to check my guy. Have you started to see that come together?
I have. An unbelievable presence along the East Coast is what we've seen. And so, yeah, I know I'm from Texas and we got relationships and we're gonna dig into those relationships. But man, I don't know. It's somewhere on Instagram, I saw, okay, of the HBCUs, when you graduate, who makes the most money? Hampton is like number 3 or 4, right? And so, well, damn, like that's business decision, right? When you have an opportunity to graduate, right? And yeah, everybody on the planet want to play in the NFL, but we're talking about when you graduate from the university, what happens, right? What happens? What has been shown to happen? It's been shown to happen that Hampton graduates, they go get paid. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, man, yes, we have seen it. We have seen Hampton former players and former students come back and say, man, I want to make sure that you know about this player, coach, that you know about this student athlete, coach. He's not being looked at. But again, man, the evaluation is just, it's narratives as well sometimes. Sometimes you got a kid who is on a team where they ran the football, but he is an unbelievable athlete as a receiver. They just didn't have anybody get him the football, right? And so as a coach, you got to be able to evaluate his talent, evaluate his ability to be able to contribute, maybe sometimes at another position, right? We at Kansas State, we take running backs and next thing you know, they're a defensive end. We take tight ends, and next thing you know, they're a defensive end, right? We take wide receivers, and next thing you know, they're a linebacker, right? So your ability to be able to evaluate, can he run? What is his length? What is his level of physicality? How hard does he work? Has he ever been injured? Like all of those things play into the evaluation process. And man, if you, which Tremaine, we have this discussion all the time about high school players. You have to be, especially in this area, you have to be able to go and grab good high school football players.
Coach, I want to ask you this because one of the things, and I'm super excited, as you do have a very fluent alumni and football players that are fluent, that, like I say, at work. Have you been able to sit back, because Hampton is one of the schools just far as capital campaigns, have one of the largest capital campaigns just to raise funds for the school. Have you been able to talk to your AD? And like, again, I don't know where it's at, to say, hey, you know what? I think we have the ability to potentially put together, some NIL for athletics and for football, and talk to some of the, high-powered alumni that want to support that. Because and again, I'll just use Florida A&M. When we saw Coach Gray come, we raised $325,000 in 30 days. And You're talking about, like you said, Hampton, who has these alums. Have you been able to say, hey, listen, of course, you're not going to be competing against, again, like you say, the Kansas State, the Big 12, stuff like that. But there's opportunity where you might have a kid that say, hey, coach, with a Hampton education and a little NIL, because again, these kids are not looking for a lot. Have you seen potential that you can build NIL with Hampton and working on that?
We do have a program, right? We have a program within our athletic department, but our fan base, our former players, our former students, they are working really hard to grow that, right? To grow that fund. And now it sounds like you guys had a challenge. You said 300,000.
Well, coach, now Steve, now hold on, coach. Let me tell you something.
Okay, Pirates, let's get busy.
Listen, coach, I'm the money guy on the show. That's the setup.
Hey,
See,
let's get busy, Pirates.
So, coach, what I always do, coach, because I know all these alums. And see, coach, what I don't like, right? They want you to win, right? They want y'all to beat Howard. They say Michael Vick is across the water over there. I know you done heard that, coach. Who you got to beat? Well, I'm gonna tell you a secret. I know Coach Malone. I know what kind of brother he is. If you invest in him, guess what? You'll find out who the real HU is because they'll say Hampton. You won't have to worry about the battle of the Bay because they'll say Hampton. So I'm gonna challenge all y'all. If you can raise 323,000, big bad Hampton, that's $1 million right there, coach.
So here's what I'm gonna need you to do. I'm gonna need you to record that. You and I, we're gonna go on the road, right? But you know what? Again, I'm very intrigued by our base, right? Because they have expressed that, right? They asked me, like you said, that little old lady has asked me, what do you need, coach? Right? What do you need? I'll do whatever you need, coach. And I could, man, that excites me because I want them to understand I'm doing everything I can. And you're right. They want you to win. And hey man, that's what we're going to do. But it sure makes it easier, right? If you got a pocket full of bread.
Coach, I'm telling you, listen, I'm going to tell you this, and people hear this. I have a friend of mine, her mother, class of 59 down at Prairie View. And when I say she cut a check, and she graduated in 1959, this is 2026. It ain't no little check either. So that's what I'm saying. The alumni that you have, and coach, see, this is what I like. I'm excited. When I saw that you got this job and things like that, because there are certain schools that need people with personality that understands the mission of the school. Because when you go to a Hampton, there's a pride, there's a level of standard of excellence that the school has that trickles all the way down to the athletics. So again, with a person like yourself with your pedigree and things like that, that's why I'm super excited. So those people like that, those little old ladies and their husbands that's in the back that drive that Benz, or they're gonna cut a check for you, coach. So that's the thing about wanting to see, and again, to get that conversation started, because for me, it's really important. You know, coach, you've seen this. Everybody on social media, they can say this, they can say that. Coach, let me tell you something. I have sponsored 5 HBCUs in my business. I don't talk about it, be about it, because I know in the end, that's what's going to make it happen. And that's why I always challenge people that watch this show, because like I said, coach is going to make a post after this show, what the link is to whatever the pirate fund or whatever they call it. And we're going to
we call that, that's the Football Excellence Fund.
The Football Excellence Fund.
I'll give you a link.
There you go. And we need to see that thing starting to move, because again, coach, let me tell you something, what I want to see. I want to see Hampton and Howard be a great game. I want to see you guys play North Carolina A&T be a great game. I want to see when you play, because see, when you guys are good, that's good for all of HBCU football. That brings in the fans, because like you say, you saw Prairie View versus South Carolina State. You had record people watching, because you know why? It wasn't because it was good football, coach. So that's the thing about it. So I'm super excited, and I just wanted to put that part in and ask, because you got a lot of people, because you did start late, they look for our show. Like, what is coach doing about recruiting? Who is he having on the coaching staff? Because a lot of times you might have it locally, you know what I mean, that the interviews here. This is a national show, you know what I mean, that people watch, they get to record it and things like that. So that's why I think it was important. I'm glad that you told people who was on your staff and what kind of kids, because I'm going to say this again, coach, this is my last little setup question. We have a lot of parents, but I'll say this for the fathers that, and again, I use Rocky example, that were Big 12 SEC fans and things like that. Coach, give that parent, that father, the picture why his son need to come play for you.
Well, man, you know, the thing is that I have 3 kids, right? And so when you have 3 kids, you understand. And I got stories on top of stories, but my young son, my middle son, I put this dude in a bowl game. as the last play of the game. We were beating LSU, right? We beating LSU. We winning the game. I put him in the last play of the game. Oh, my son is going to see this show, and he going to hit me up about it. But anyway, I put him in the game. And, man, LSU ran a reverse flea flicker pass for a touchdown. Man, they beat my son for a touchdown, right?
Oh.
They beat my son for a touchdown. My son comes off the field. Yeah, we win the bowl game. We beat LSU. Yeah, whatever. But, man, I got to go talk to my son. This is my son because actually on the headsets, I said, hey, guys, I'm about to put my son in this game. And they were like, oh, what? Hey, man, I'm about to put my son in this game. And I don't care what anybody says. My son is going in this game because I felt like LeBron James. You know what I mean? My son going in this game. And I'm not cutting LeBron or Bronny. Listen.
I understand, Coach. I understand.
Come on, Coach. I put my son in that game, and they threw that touchdown on my son. And I said, damn. But you know what I did when I talked to my son? I said to him, listen, man, people walk on to a program and they own the team for 4 or 5 years and they never touch the field. And I said, I've done it for many other players throughout my career. I put them in the game. If I ever have an opportunity to get them in the game, I'm going to get them in the game because their parents want to see them, right? They want to see them out there. And I put my son in that game. He got beat for a touchdown. And I said, listen, man, you got beat for a touchdown because your ass wasn't listening. But anyway, the next thing is.
Yeah, the coach him up, coach.
Hey, man. Because, okay, I had to coach him. But I said, as your father, I put you in the game again, right? Because you deserve that moment. As your coach, I want to curse you out because you should have been better in that moment. But as your father, you deserve that moment. As your coach, too, I say you deserve that moment. So to a father, you want to coach. You're going to coach your son the way you're going to coach him. The love part, right? The way you're going to love him. And I'm going to coach him that other part as well, right? You might not sometimes coach him like that, but we both will agree, Dad, that he needs that part to help him survive in the world today, because it's not going to always be lollipops and cherry bomb ice cream, right? Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes it's going to be tough, and we're going to coach the hell out of him, but we also going to love him, right? And again, I say the schemes, man, you can draw up 100 schemes, but it's about the development. It's about the relationship. It's about that love that drives them hard so that one day, as I say, they can be Tremaine Jackson.
Coach, as you was telling that story, it reminded me of one of my, I won't name the coach because he's actually one of my favorite guys in the world, so I won't name him. But he's one of my favorite coaches. And he had a son that played, and he put his son in the game in an inopportune situation. And something similar happened that you see. And so finally, we just sitting around and talking. I say, hey, Coach, why we gonna call him Junior? I'm like, why you put Junior in the game? Junior want to go in or something? He say, Rob, you want me to be honest with you? I put Junior in for a reason you'll never guess. He say, but you'll understand once I say it. He say, you know that kid right there, Junior? I sleep with his mama. He say, so if all these other kids go play, she expecting Junior to play too.
Hey, Rob, it was rough. Rob. I already knew what you were gonna say. But here's what happened to my son. Here's what happened. And my son, y'all better delete all these files. So my wife came to me after the game, and my wife, so we won the game 42-21 or something like that. And so I love my son. I really do, man. And my son was an unbelievable player who just didn't play as much. But anyway, when my son came off that field. I talked to him. Well, the next person I had talked to was his mom. And so I turned to her, and she is coming like a mom, right? So this is to the mothers out there, right? This is how I handle y'all, right? So the mom is coming at me. She said, "Why'd you put him in the game so late?" I said, "Let me tell you something. If I'd have put him in the game 4 plays earlier, we'd have got our ass beat." And you know what she said? "You ain't eating for the next 2 weeks."
Come on, coach.
And you know what I did? I didn't eat for the next 2 weeks.
Hey, Coach.
But
Coach, and that's one of the things that my coach explained to me in that situation was that coaching your son is a blessing. It's the greatest joy that he ever experienced, but it's a difficult thing to manage, not because of the relationship between you and your son, but because of that other relationship.
hey, man, you better understand something.
That's
Hey,
her baby, ain't it?
Hey, that's her baby. And you know what? Again, throughout the season, my wife never said a word about how I was coaching her son. I never said a word about any of that, right? But at the end of the day, on that game, in that situation, she let me know it, right? And again, man, listen, I had a player who played for me at Texas A&M, and this player's name was Ben Bittner. And Ben Bittner was very much undersized. I coached the corners at Texas A&M. My average corner was 6'2", right? And Ben Bittner was 5'2". But I know that Ben Bittner had been told many times over, you shouldn't go to Texas A&M. You'll never play. Ben Bittner never said that to me, but he worked as hard as he could. Anything I ever asked the kid to do, he did it. Well, man, we're playing Penn State in a bowl game. I always get this wild hair on these bowl games, but we're playing Penn State in a bowl game. And we're in the first quarter, and I knew I'm going to get Ben Bittner in this game. So I go to one of my starting cornerbacks. I said, "Hey, the next series, your shoe is going to come off." He's like, "What? What did I just say to you? The next series on first down, your shoe is going to come off." "Coach, what are you talking about?" And I looked over at Ben, and he said, "Oh." So we get out there, man, I'm going to tell you, I said 13 and a half prayers, right? "Lord, please do not let them pass this ball, this little funky scheme I got going on." So here it is. It's first down, plays over. Here this kid running off with his shoe, right? I grab Ben and I throw him in the game. "Get in there." He gets into the game, and Penn State runs the football towards Ben. Ben is in on the tackle. He don't make the tackle, of course, but he's flying around in the area, right? So if there was a TV screen, Ben might have shown up on the TV screen. And as fast as I could, I threw my starter back in the game. So Ben was in there maybe a half a play, right? Throw the starter back in the game. And Ben is one who's going to kill me too, because I never talked to him about this. I don't know how many years. This was 2006. And I never talked to him about this, never told anybody this. Well, Ben comes off to the sideline, and he's hyperventilating. He's so excited, right? And as I patted him on his head, I said, "Good job, Ben," right? But Ben looked over at me, and I could feel him looking at me, but I didn't look back at him. And I felt him looking at me. And I did everything I could to stay looking forward. And he said, "Thanks, coach." I said, "Shut up and watch the game." We never talked about it. We never talked about that happening. But I believe that those are the things that a coach has to find a way to get done, right? Especially for those players. And so that's what it is, man, right? That's what it is. Don't think we're going to, hey, listen, Ben Bittner and guys like Ben Bittner, that was a long time ago. I don't do that anymore, right? I don't sneak guys in the game who Don't need to be in the game yet.
Now, unless you donate $100,000 to coach, we'll work it out.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be in there quick, right? Yeah, you might start.
Hey, Coach, man, this has been a tremendous interview. You're giving us much more than we expected. You've been on with us an hour and a half, Coach. I want to thank you for coming on and talking to us at HBCU Coaches Corner. I definitely want to invite you back again after, sometime after spring ball in the off season. Get you on here and talk about what you found out about your team and really about what we could expect and what players we could look to see this upcoming season. Hey, Coach, we had some people asking, did you bring any? I won't say the player's name because he probably on another team right now. But did you bring any players to Hampton with you?
Hey, we got something coming, right?
Okay.
We got something coming. Like Dion said, I don't have my Louis coming. I got my Target bag and my.
You got Samsonite, huh, Coach?
I got some Ouija bags coming, right?
But no,
hey,
Coach,
but guess what? That Samsonite gonna work just as well.
100%.
Absolutely, Coach. I want to thank you, man. And I want to, again, we're going to get you on later on as we get close to the football season so you can talk about your team and tell us what we're going to say. Mr. Campbell, you got anything before you get
Coach,
out?
I'm going to get your number and I'm going to text you because I'm going to tell you a secret. See, I was the one politicking to make sure we had this interview to happen. I said, we got to get Coach Malone on.
Good. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, man. Like I said, because I knew it would be great. But, yeah, I'll definitely get your number. And like I say, I'm a big supporter of what you're going to be doing up there. Let me ask you a question, though. And this is, has your family moved to Virginia? Or again, is that one of those? And again, I'm not trying to, but the only reason why I asked that, because trust me, when they get there, that's another whole thing too, man. When they find out the coach, man, they take good care of the family too. So that's what.
But that's great because my son needs a job. Yep, my son, he does need a job. Anybody, you just contact me because he needs a job. He's not very good at stopping touchdowns, but he's a marketing guy, and he needs a job. But no, to answer that question, man, I had to wrap up things in Kansas. So we just came back off spring break, and I had to go home for spring break and sell my house. And it's really cool, man. Blessings abound. I put my house on the market on Thursday, and that thing sold on Saturday. Right. And so
your realtor's out of sight, ain't it?
Hey man, let me tell you something. All that painting I had to do, painting and moving and staging. I told my wife, hey man, the people not gonna think anybody lives here. You can move all my stuff out, right? All my tools, all my nice pictures and stuff. That stuff where's my stuff? It's boxed up, right? And so maybe that was the answer, right? Because that thing sold as quickly as it could. And so we are in the process, man, of trying to find us a house here. One thing that I'm a guy who, I like me some land. I like me some room. Yeah. Right. I'm from Texas. I like to grow tomato crops and stuff. You know what I mean? And so I'm kind of a stickler about the outside. Right. And so I also like to entertain my players. I like to have my players over. And so we got to find that perfect house that I be able to bring my players to.
Well, I'm gonna give you a secret for your son. This is what you do, and which I'm pretty sure you already have done, and you're going to do it. You join the Alumni Association as an associate. They have something, and have your son join it too, and then you bring him to the alumni meeting, and then that's when you tell that joke that your son need a job, and then that's how you get to get him a job right there. Coach.
So I got to pay his membership too.
Oh yeah, right. Man. You listen, Coach. I'm giving you the secret sauce.
That's
Coach,
good investment, right? Okay,
Coach,
right.
I'm trying to say, Coach, it's only probably only $150. And I'm telling you, once you do it, then you can see come team. You go ahead and join the Alumni Association. And then you make a post on social media. Then you have your son to do it. And then when you had a meeting, you bring the son, they had a job. You say, Mr. Campbell taught me that. See, I'm teaching some other folks this trick too, Coach. I've been running thing for 50 years. I'm trying to let you know.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you both my number and my email. Right.
Hey, Coach, I got you, baby. We go right back, Rock Nasty. We go right back.
Hey, man. But I want to say this, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on, right? In terms of the time, man, the time is the time, right? Having an opportunity to share, to talk about our program, to honor our people, the HBCU Coaches Corner, man, it means a lot to me. And so I definitely would be honored to be back on. And all you gotta do is let me know, and I'm at your beck and call.
All right, Coach. Hey, we may even, we taking the show on the road this next year, man. So we may even come pull up on you, Coach. Y'all got some very tasty games that I would love to view in person. So I may make that trip because, man, it seems like
we don't roll our red carpets around here. We roll the blue carpet out.
Tell them, Coach. You better tell them. Hey, now, Coach, listen, I got to get, now listen, Coach, you got a person across the bay. Now, listen, if they tell you to do a reality show, make sure it's two tights. Do it like Dion, where it's totally sanitized and everything like that. Don't do it like the other folks, okay? So I'm just letting you know, they want you to do a reality show, because I do the review of the reality show every week, Coach. I'm just trying to let you know. Don't let everybody know your business. So I'm going to just tell you, Coach.
No doubt. Well, we're gonna always keep it clean. We're going to always keep it clean. Right? We're going to always keep it clean. That's the Hampton way.
There it is.
All right, Coach Malone. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you coming on,
man.
And you've been great.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
Oh, that was Coach Van Malone of the Hampton Pirates. I look forward to, hey, Coach, there's some guys when you interview, it makes you miss the game, miss playing football. Because Coach Malone is a guy that I feel like I probably could have made another tackle for him. You know what I mean? If he sent me in the game, I probably could have made that tackle that Ben Bittner missed. I probably could have made that tackle.
Would have made it.
Yeah, I probably could have made that tackle.
Well, let me tell you something, man, and let me tell you what I like and what's going to work well for him. Coach is a cool mofo. I'm gonna say it like that.
Absolutely.
And he's gonna be able to relate to his players. He always been like that. Always been a good. He wasn't up, man. That's a good dude. And when you see that, and the reason why I specifically, again, I know mothers help recruit too, but see, the one thing about mothers are smarter than fathers, because mothers can see things about academics and things like that. It's the father. I wanted to play at Georgia. I wanted to play at Florida and all that and stuff like that. And he's going to be the type of guy to talk to those fathers to get those guys to come to Hampton. And like I'm trying to tell you, man, and I told everybody about Prairie View, but let me tell you something about Hampton, because we used to play them in the MEAC. When they had that thing rolling, Rocky, they was getting on people's heads, because they were able to get in very smart players, but also they could get them academic scholarships, so they was able to move some money around and stuff like that, and then get players, like they say, in that 757, man. If you go back and look in that run in that late 90s and 2000s, you put out a lot of players, and they put out NFL players.
Let's put Hampton in context, okay? The program that you guys have, so we have to go back to the MEAC, because I want you to kind of explain it to me as if I was a fourth grader, right? The class of the MEAC, as I perceived it as a football fan, was A&T. The way I perceived it as a football fan.
Okay, so again, let's go back. So for everybody been watching, sipping on Sundays, and which era are you talking about? Because the class of MEAC the true class of the MEAC has always been, from the beginning to the end, has been South Carolina State.
So I'm thinking mid 2000s, like 2000. I want to say like 2008 until the Dion era. What I knew about
the Celebration Bowl era.
Yeah.
Yes, they were that period. A&T was the class because they went and won 4 Celebration Bowls. That's right. And
they had some monumental FCS upsets.
Yes, they did.
Against some FBS schools.
Yes, they did. They had a tremendous run. One of the greatest runs ever.
Again, so that's kind of my context that then I come in the space and realize, first off, I don't know what happened when I came into space, but whatever magic dust was at A&T, by the time I got here in 2020, was completely stripped away from the program.
Well, no, when you came, they left. See, they left the same time FAMU left. So they went to the Big South.
Okay.
So they left the exact same time. They left, and I think Hampton might have left at the same time too. I think all of us all left around that same time. Hampton might have left before then. So somebody can correct me in the chat. But the bottom line, we all, I know A&T, FAMU, Bethune-Cookman all left at the same time. They went to the other side of track pastures. We went to SWAC where we belong. FAMU, I'm talking about FAMU, I ain't talking about Bethune. So that was been the thing that has been a challenge. They had that good first season. And then, of course, what has happened to A&T, not because I don't want to make this A&T thing, it's been the coaching situation. They haven't found the right coach. But like I said, going back, when Hampton was rolling, man, listen, in them late 90s, they won like 3 or 4 championships in 5 years.
Okay.
You know, so again, I'm saying that is that the potential is there. It's not like they've been down and they can't never get up and things like that, because again, it is Hampton. It is a well-known university. They are in the 757. It is a lot of players. And again, they get players from New York all the way down to North Carolina.
So you know, I understand the historical context of the SWAC much better. You've done a great job of educating me about the SWAC. If you had to put Hampton, and let's keep it in the context of the MEAC so that to keep it simple. If you had to put Hampton on par with a SWAC school, who would it be on par with? I'm thinking of a school based on what you said. I'm thinking Southern, but who would you say they've been on par with?
I would say Hampton with their championship. Well, no. I would say Hampton would be Alcorn, because somebody had won championships, right?
Okay.
Alcorn had a run where they won 3 or 4 in a row. Alcorn has always been in the mix, because if you go old school SWAC, and this is what Southern are saying, Jack State is saying, Grambling, well, we won all the most SWAC championships, right? And then there's one right below that level, which is Alcorn, sitting right, and I'm not talking about not too far, but right there at the top of the second tier. That's where Hampton would have been, because you would have talked about the top tier in the MEAC. You would have been talking about South Carolina State, and FAMU, you know, depending on who you are, and Hampton would have been right there, because, you know, they've never had as many schools as the SWAC has had, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So I would have put them right there. Them and A&T.
So they're not Grambling, of course.
No. I would say I would give them.
And they're not quite Jackson State.
No, they would be all. They would to me be an Alcorn, with somebody that, you know, when you played them, they could beat your ass, and if they had the right play, they win a championship.
So this is how I see Alcorn. I see Alcorn as having a transformational, iconic player, but not really winning to recent history. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and what I mean by
Rocky, you gotta remember the Alcorn before Jack State had went to more Celebration Bowl than anybody in the SWAC.
Oh, okay.
Remember all those games they played A&T.
Okay.
Alcorn,
gotcha.
You gotta say some people, and again, the early run in the SWAC was Alcorn.
Okay.
They and Jackson State, as of right now, in the Celebration Bowl era, have the most Celebration Bowl appearances. They have 3. Jackson State has 3. Grambling has 2. We have 1. That's all the people that have been. Well, and now
Prairie View has 1.
It has 1. So that lets you know right there. And mind you, the runs that they've made early, you talk about, like I said, one of the greatest teams in HBCU.
Did Hampton make an appearance in the Celebration Bowl?
No, they did not. No.
Okay.
Because I think, and again, they were still there, and then they left. And listen, and this right there, see, shout out to Blue. See, you know, hey, listen, goddamn, why does it keep going?
Both of us are clicking on it, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, this is it, and this is the original DBU. When you saying Leslie Frazier and guys like Isaac Hogan, guys like that, bro, they put them out there. So that's what I'm saying. Alcorn, again, that's why when you hear some of these discussions, and then I don't know, remember we had that tier list and stuff like that, you know, HBCU blue blood. That's why Alcorn was right there sitting at that second tier, and nobody could argue that and stuff like that. And that's why Alcorn, again, they have beat Jack State, they have beat the Grambling, they have beat the Southerns. You know what I mean? It's not, and again, just to get me in trouble, it's not like new where Prairie View is now starting to do that. You see what I'm saying? Alcorn hasn't had a history of beating all those schools.
Well, yeah. I just want, okay. So I get it. So Alcorn has a pedigree that's very relevant in football in the HBCU space. So that's
100%, absolutely.
Yeah. They're not a and let me ask you this, because the reason why I brought Southern into the conversation is because this. Southern has had a championship run, but they largely underachieved recently for a while. I'm talking maybe 6 or 7 years. They've underachieved, or maybe a decade they've underachieved. I don't know how long
Yeah.
Hampton has been on their
Well,
hiatus.
you said Southern, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, they've never been to a Celebration Bowl. So since you've been around, they haven't been to a Celebration Bowl ever.
No.
So again, Grambling has been, Jack State has been, FAMU has been, Alcorn has been, and now Prairie View has been before Southern.
Now let me ask you this.
So all the Blue Bloods have gone, plus Prairie View and Alcorn, which is right there, and Southern has not.
Let's play this game, and it's gonna piss people off even more. Because of Southern recent history, if you have to move them out of the blue blood tier, who can you move in the blue blood?
Wait a minute. So this is what people come in not listening. I have said Southern has won many championships. Rocky's asked a specific question about a specific time. That's why I said you can't put Alcorn on the same level as Southern, Jack State, and Grambling. I clearly said that. So don't start. Listen of what I said. So if I say you can't put, that means, of course, you have historically have had runs and won champion. The numbers say you won more conference championships. So there we go. I want to clear that up.
If I recall your blue blood list, it's Tennessee State, Jackson State, FAMU, Southern,
Grambling, and South Carolina State.
And South Carolina State.
Yes.
If you remove Southern out, who do you put as that fifth school in?
Who? See, here's the thing. A&T has won championships, but they also went on an 0-27 streak, if I remember.
Wow.
So it would have to be Alcorn because of the longevity of the time that they have won championships, HBCU national championships, and playing the Celebration Bowl. So that would be. So no, Adrian, I would not move y'all out. This is Rocky doing Rocky.
No. What I'm trying to understand would because the blue blood criteria is a little more involved than just the recent history that I was talking about.
Yeah, well, you can't be. Well, see, here's the thing about and this is what I had to when Josh on the HBCU Nightly tried to say Jack State not blue blood. The definition of a blue blood is multiple winning season, multiple conference championships, along with national championship. It's consistency over decades. That's what a blue blood is. That's like Michigan does not have as many national championships as Miami, right? But Michigan is a blue blood because Miami won all their championships all compressed. But Michigan has always been a Big Ten champion for decades, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. You see what I'm saying? And always. That's what makes Michigan blue blood. But they don't have as many national championships as other schools. So that's the same thing. So again, I hate to use y'all, but I mean, when he had the show, he was making a point. Well, Jack State doesn't have many. Tuskegee's got more. But Jack State has won so many conference championships along with HBCU national championships again, and the amount of players that they have put in, because that's again too part of that blue blood conversation is the players you produce that automatically puts them in that blue blood conversation.
And just for context, and just to make things fair, and this is just me, and I'm nobody, but I personally wouldn't put a Division II school in the blue blood conversation. That's just me. I would. I know a lot of people.
Here's the thing. But remember, so here's the thing. Before the 1AA split, we were in the SIAC with Tuskegee. They played all these schools. We moved up, they stayed. So again, that's why Tuskegee, and I think Tuskegee's the winners HBC program in history.
I get that, Mr. Campbell, but you got to understand that split happened 45 years ago.
I get it. But I'm telling you what the Tuskegee people say.
So for 45 years, they've been playing at a lower level.
Right. But what I'm saying, I'm telling you what the Tuskegee, if I was a Tuskegee guy, that's what they would say. But on their level, they are a blue blood on their level. It's like on our level. You know what I'm saying? We are not Texas. We're not Notre Dame. FAMU is not. But in our level, we can make that claim.
But because the only reason why I say that is we're talking about at the highest level. And at the highest level.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute, Rocky. Tell him who I said was a blue blood. Did I not name this school right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just want to let you know. Absolutely, bro. I named that, brother.
Yeah. He said that. The only reason why I say that is because if you take Tuskegee and for 45 years, I could even accept it if they went down for 10 years and then came back up to Division I, but they've been down there for 45 years and have never played the same level of competition as Jackson State.
But hold on, but wait a minute, Rocky. Now wait a minute. Now, seeing people will go back to the old Sheridan poll in those 45 years. Tuskegee has won national champ and beaten people on our level. Ask Alabama State. Ask Jackson State. Ask FAMU. They've beaten all those people in the last 45 years. They have. They have. So if we go look, if we go look,
Coach Cole. They beat Coach Cole.
Okay.
In his championship year, they beat Coach Cole.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So they have beaten people at the 1AA level. Well, because that's what me and Coach Cole will say FCS now, but 1AA and have done it.
But that's like saying, now this is what I put it. That's like saying
in the last decade.
That's like saying when Appalachian State beat Michigan, now Appalachian State can claim some claim to being a FCS power.
Well, they were. They were 1AA at the time.
They were 1AA at the time.
Yeah, exactly. But they were considered Appalachian was a high level FCS school, and that's what. So it would be the same thing. But that's when you're saying like a Tuskegee, and say, listen, all these schools that you name, we done beat them. It's very few schools at that level can say that. You know. So that's my thing. I don't think they could. Well, I was about to say Miles College, but they just beat Alabama State.
But I'm just saying that's kind of what used to confuse me, because I had a conversation, if you remember, with Reggie Flood, and Reggie Flood toyed with putting Tuskegee in the blue blood group.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is the thing with HBCU football, because we were all together. We were. So again, being all together, and still, again, like a school like Tuskegee that still plays historically one AA FCS schools, they still play them. So for people like me and Flood, who are of that age, Coach Cole, that have seen Tuskegee make run and win again, because this was all voted on. You know what I'm saying? They were voted just like Central. So let me tell you something, bro. When Billy Joe was at Central and Hugh Douglas was there, you didn't want to play them boys. They beat everybody. And I'm talking about beat their ass bad. You gotta understand something. He had Charles Thompson, them boys coming over there playing for Central.
Eric Williams.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. So you had schools like that man, it didn't matter. That's how close. And now, Rocky, we've even seen it where the talent, these kids have moved up, and man, listen, they're all swag, all MEAC.
I agree. Now that part of it, I mean, has been substantiated that the Division II HBCU players can play at the FCS at the HBCU level, the FCS level. I don't think that's a but one of the criterias of a blue blood is that sustained level of excellence. And can that properly be measured when you're playing at a lower level? That's all.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Even at your level, that's what I'm saying. Tuskegee has, again, at their level, can claim that, and they can say, again, that we have still beat these schools. And like I said, and Crook said, in the last 10 years, we beat some of these schools.
Okay, so
they beat Jackson State a couple of years ago. Well, when I say couple, I think within the last 15 years.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay.
I know they beat us once.
Recently?
They
didn't beat Willie.
I know they beat us when we were in school.
Did they beat Willie?
No. Oh, no. We didn't play Tuskegee.
Okay.
But they beat us maybe right after I got out. I know Tuskegee beat us.
Yeah. But I mean, but you got to realize, Steve, when you think about it, when we were in school, it hadn't been 15 years since they had left FCS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I can get your hands on some.
Hey man, listen, we might need. Hey, you know what? And somebody, it's funny that you say somebody post those old Sheridan polls by the week. We might have to pull that up. You know what I'm saying? That'd be good.
That'd be dope. Hey, but Mr.
Okay, there you
Campbell,
go. See, yeah, little baby said it. Yeah. Skeeter beat us during the Woods era. Yeah, that was recent.
oh man.
So
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, but Mr. Campbell, man, another great show. Thanks again to Coach Malone. And what he came on here and he was so much more than we expected, man. He's truly was a delight to interview, and I want to thank you, Mr. Campbell, for being the spearhead behind making sure we got this done. So thank you. You got anything before we take him out of here?
Man. Hey, tomorrow, and Rocky, I promise I won't get your channel suspended because I thought I had. Me and Scotty talked about the slick way of doing it, and it still didn't work. But Herb and I will probably be back tomorrow because you know what? Those Prairie View Panthers play tomorrow.
I may jump on with you.
Yeah, we need you on there because we gonna let Prairie View come on and do all they talking. And when they can talk about football, they talk about softball.
I'm gonna send Lionel the link.
Oh yeah, see, I'm calling Lionel, make sure he's on that. Said Bass, come on, Said, do your talking. But we want to see, hey man, shout out to Herb, man, who's done a great job coming on HBCU Coaches Corner. Come on, sipping on Sunday. Hey, Herb called the Howard game. He said Prairie View should win that game. So man, we're gonna have a good time, man. Rocky gonna come on there, and we have a good time and have another watch party and stuff like that. So yeah, man, we'll be back on at 6:30. And hey, Crook, there you go. Hey, see what? Let me tell you something. One thing about these jokers, boy. Them jokers like the bat signal, boy. You say they name, here they come. Now Jared ain't made a post the whole show. He been watching, sit back in the cut. But when you said that PV bat signal, there you go.
Hey, the kings of the swag. Hey, they claiming it, ain't they?
Oh, bro,
they claiming it.
Listen, man, listen. I tried to give them. Hey, listen, again, I gotta tell this story because I know you heard it. I get on there and I'm giving them a compliment. I say, hey, Lionel. Again, I know. I said, man, this is probably the greatest year in Prairie View sports history. And I gave them credit for the women's volleyball regular season championship. And you don't know your instruments. I'm like, and then your coach put out there. This is the first time we ever done this. Try to tell y'all that, man. Don't ask your boy no questions.
You know, being a Dallas Cowboy.
Oh, no, he said, no, I just clicked back to on chill.
Being a Dallas Cowboy fan my whole life, right?
Yeah.
I've dealt with fan bases. I'm just going to use the Arizona Cardinals, for instance.
Okay.
Right? I've had friends that support the Arizona Cardinals. They go to the Super Bowl and lose. Okay. And all of a sudden, they declare that they're the greatest franchise, that ever lived, and even attempt to discount the history of the Dallas Cowboys just because they've went to a Super Bowl since we have. My point in saying that is this. Just because you win once doesn't erase all the history that exists in the SWAC, the NFC East, or whatever. It doesn't erase all that. Live in the moment, Prairie View fans. Enjoy this moment.
They want their respect. And listen, hey, Emmett, I looked it up. No, Prairie View had never won the men's and basketball championship, even in the 50s and 60s. Because I went back because I wanted to see who had done it. Because I knew somebody had done it, but it hadn't been a lot. So they had never done it. When the time they won the SWAC, they had never won men's basketball in the 50s or 60s.
Before we get out of here, there's a term for what Prairie View and some of its fans, I'm going to put its fans, because I don't think, let's separate the team and the fans apart in this statement. Because I think
this is totally the fans conversation.
The coaches, it's the fans. I think what they are suffering from is low sports self-esteem. Anything that's said about them, they so used to it being negative.
You about to get the brass monkey award.
When it is positive, they somehow turn it negative. That's the only thing that makes sense. So it's almost like this, Mr. Campbell. If I would say, Mr. Campbell, your beard looks nice today. And you say, what you mean? I ain't got no Beijing in it? That's why you telling me it look nice? Because I ain't got no Beijing? No, you trying to be funny. No, your beard looks nice tonight. That's what we're going through, is that you're so self-conscious about it that when an honest compliment is given, you somehow perceive it as being a slight. And I just don't get it.
Stop. Listen, Sid Bass is going to clip this. He's going to give you the Brass Monkey Award because he said, you don't know nothing, Rocky.
I mean, I don't know anything, but
this is our time. And they don't. So I'm just letting you know what's going to happen.
But again, I think as fans, again, as a fan base that's used to winning, just enjoy the moment. Enjoy whatever moment you get. I'm talking about when you win a game, enjoy that moment. Don't worry about what people say. And if it's positive, accept it as positive. Because guess what? The beautiful girl, when you tell her she's pretty, she never says, I'm not pretty. You're just saying that. She knows she's pretty. She knows she's pretty.
Rocky, give me a few more minutes. Let me tell you something.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to say this. I know the Prairie View folks. I talk to Lionel all the time. I know it's number fun. But what I will say, and the Southern folks don't want to admit it, but I saw a post. I ain't going to say the person's name. But Lionel made one post and got y'all all riled up about y'all coach. Talking about Lionel stayed up all night. Y'all don't understand. Lionel does that. And Southern, the only folks that really is aggravated is y'all. Because guess what happened? And I'm just going to say this. It ain't Jackson State. Because they came and beat y'all on y'all homecoming and said happy homecoming. And then they came back when y'all supposed to get y'all get back in basketball and beat y'all in basketball. That's rough right there, bro. That's rough right there. Some Southern folks are 38 hot. They are 38 hot. They looking for get back. Jackson State folks, yeah, they get it. They upset. They talking. But them Southern folks, those are the folks who really mad.
Can we? I want to say this because I'm gonna be because this is something I didn't say. I wanted to say during the coaching cycle that because I didn't think it was appropriate because everything was going on. If I'm Southern, if I'm the blue blood university,
right
at Southern,
yes, sir.
Ain't no way Tremaine Jackson is coaching another game at Prairie View A&M. He's just not. I'm packing up all the cash I can get in Baton Rouge. I'm driving to Prairie View.
You gonna take him after 1 year?
I'm driving to Prairie View and throwing it right there in front of the athletic building and say, come on, Tremaine, let's go. There's no way.
Let me hit this. She said Quinn Gray been just quiet, but guess what? Quinn Gray been wearing FAMU stuff all the time. He had Restore the Strike t-shirt on when he came on with us. He wear FAMU hat. So we ain't never had to worry about what Quinn was wearing. Just wanted to that's the difference.
You mean to tell? Let me ask you this here, and this is the hypothetical. If Indiana coach, I can't think his name, Signetti.
Yeah, Signetti.
Was winning the way he was winning, and Ohio State hadn't won a Big 12, hadn't won a Big 10 championship in 10 years. Do you think they would have went out to Signetti?
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%. But here's the problem. See, Rocky, the timeline. You got to see the problem with your timeline. They actually had a coach who actually won the West. Remember? Because their coach, T. Jack, this is his first year, correct? This previous year was his, right? Coach Graves, did he not win the West the year before? Well, I can't blame Southern for keeping him.
No. I'm talking about once T-Jack won, Southern fired their coach.
Oh.
I'm saying go get it done then.
Go get it done then?
The same way Colorado did Jackson State. I'm being honest. Like to me, that's what big dogs do.
That's what
if
they do.
A real big dog, you go down there and you go to Prairie View and you say, "Come on, Tremaine, it's time to go. We got a new home for."
Well, now they wanted. Listen, because what's Roman Banks said they gonna that's when that email leaked out. We about to do a better Jack State. We about to do Prime 2.0. That's what they want. They wanted Prime 2.0. That's why they got Marshall Faulk.
Hey, the way it's looking, if they wait a year They may be able to get prime.
Listen. Because they got a new AD. I'm just saying.
And Prime, my guy. Hey. I'm just saying.
There you go. Hey, Lionel, we need you tomorrow for the watch party. See this guy right here. Hey, shout out to this guy who was aggravated. Shout out to this guy who's aggravated 3 fan bases in less than 24 hours.
Lionel say that's because they ain't a real big dog.
I got to get that brother can make. He makes one sentence and he got 3 fan bases aggravated, and he ain't even talking to none of them.
So this is what you say, Rocky. Stop it. Cotton picking well. He not leaving PV for the swag. He from Houston, bruh. I don't care where he from. If you a big dog, if you a big dog, then he got to tell me no. He got to tell me no. He ain't gonna come in, dominate the SWAC. I'm on my face down bad at a perennial losing school, and I don't go and just take it. I'm telling you, you'd have to tell me. Tremaine Jackson would have to tell me no if I was Southern.
I'm gonna have to do my said back. See, Rocky, you just don't understand about PV. You just don't know. Big PV. Hey, let me tell you something I learned when we let it go. That's why I'm saying how much I don't know about. I did not know that P-Funk was a PV thing. I just saw that video. I'm pretty impressed by that with PV fans. See, I'm saying, bro, none of us even know, man. I didn't know that was y'all thing. But hey, listen, Rocky. Let me tell you something.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, Lionel. You said, and the guys and the girls are doing a phenomenal job of repping Prairie View and making sure that they stay relevant, and everybody know that Prairie View is the big dog in the SWAC in 2025-26. Y'all doing a great job of that. And guess what? Can't nobody argue about it. They can't say nothing. They got to be hush mouth.
Bruh.
Hush mouth.
Gotta be quiet. Backed it up with that basketball. Everybody had to shut up after that. Everybody had to shut up. But I'm just letting y'all know y'all not gonna win softball. FAMU girls will handle that. So I just want to let y'all know.
What about they got a shot at baseball?
No, heck no. Prairie, they definitely don't have no shot at that.
So what you saying? What about track?
I don't know. But we already the track season over with.
No, that was indoor. That's indoor. Don't
FAMU and who else won that? I know we won the women's indoor track. I don't know who won the men's. Prairie View, I don't know. Prairie, y'all gotta let us know. See, now we gotta pay attention to what else Prairie View does, because these suckers gonna be.
Well, let's be honest. I think Lionel was the one that brought it to my attention. Didn't Prairie View either last year or the year before win the President's Cup?
Well, okay. All right, we gotta talk about this. Okay. Listen, I understand the President's Cup is a great achievement, but you gotta say all SWAC schools don't play all the sports. And the President's Cup is based off of points off of sports. So if you're playing, like, we don't have soccer, right? You win soccer, we don't get get points for that. So everybody don't play. So listen, I'm gonna tell y'all the real cup. This is it. The big 3: football, basketball, and baseball for men, and for the women, basketball, volleyball, softball. That's it. Now I think Alabama State done won the President's Cup.
Created the Campbell Cup.
The Campbell Cup, because Alabama State done won the President's Cup. They're like, we done won 8 like the last 10 years. They ain't won NASWAC championship in football. Now basketball.
Now that may be a criteria y'all may want to go over, though. You at least got to have a SWAC championship in the big 3. Is if you're gonna get a trophy away.
That's what I'm saying. And they haven't. Alabama State win that thing all the time. When they won the SWAC in football. They won. I think they won that thing like 2 or 3 years in a row. They thank you, Emmett. See, Emmett, no. And guess what? And Emmett, keep it a buck. Emmett, old school. Does anybody know in the SWAC or whoever win the President's Cup, other than the person that wins the President's Cup? No, because the President's Cup don't have nothing to do with basketball or football, baseball, or the big 6 that I just named. The money makers. Right here. Yeah.
Hey, man. We're going to get off of here, man. Much love, everybody.
See y'all tomorrow.
All right, for sure. All right.
There you go. Peace. Thank you, guys.